Okay, good day, ma'am. Our first topic is our five pillars, which is criminal justice system. Criminal justice system is the process in which community by which crimes are investigated and the persons suspected thereof are taken into custody, prosecuted in court, and punished if found guilty. Provisions being made for their correction and rehabilitation. So magawas jud diri ang atong rule sa five pillars, which is ang law enforcement, prosecution, court, correction, and community. First, law enforcement. Law enforcement, known as the frontliner or prime mover of the criminal justice system of the Philippines. Law enforcement pillar usually refers to the police or the PNP as agency. The PNP is responsible in the arrest of the violations of law. If nadyo may tabok crime sa ato ang community, sila jud ang una mo action, no? Ang law enforcement ngano? Kay sila ang mag-apprehend into take custody sa tao nga nakabuhat og krimen. And after ana, prosecuted in court. Atuloy natay prosecution, which is ang second list sa ato ang five pillars. Prosecution. Gather necessary evidence with the help of the law enforcement. So working with the law enforcement ngano? Siyempre mga evidences mangunni ma-provide dun sa atong mga kapulisan, no? Para pod maka-evaluate sila kung sufficient ba to as evidence or na may probable cause para i-file sa court. Actually, dako kay tabang ang prosecutor sa atong court. It determines the existence of a prima facie case. It also files and prosecute the case in court. So mo ni ang function ang prosecutor. After any prosecution, if nadyo'y probable cause ato sa court, so proceed sa atong third pillars. Court, known as the center of the core of the criminal justice system of the Philippines. So ngano siya ang center sa atong criminal justice system? Tanawagod sa five pillars. Sa prosecution stage, nakita ang iyang probable cause, then gi-file siya sa court. Court ang naay final stage kung inosente ba siya or guilty. It is also the arbiter of justice conducts hearing and render authoritative judgment. So kung guilty jud siya, proceed ta sa ato ang correction. So, correction. It controls those who were convicted by the court and segregate from the community in the Philippines. We jails and prisons as well as farms. So understandable naman jud kayo ning pangalan, no? From the word correction, correct, gi-correct ang tao. For example, napriso ang isa ka tawo nga nakakommit og crime. Dili sa correction, gi-correct siya as sa iya mga mali. Bali mo ra siya seminar stage ba para sa tao nga nakabuhat og krimen. Gi-seminar siya sa para matama iyang mga mali para makamatngon siya. So after aning correction, natama na yung mga mali na nakamatngon na sa siyang ipambuhat, ilaban siya sa community, which is our last pillar, community. It is known as the widest pillar. It also the place where the criminal comes from and where he will return. Sama sa akong gingon ganiha, ang criminal manag correction, if makamatngon na siya sa iyang gipambuhat, ilabay siya sa community, balik siya kung asa sa gikan or asa sa nagpuyo. Ano lang. Okay, good day, ma'am. Our topic is School of Penology. First, classical school. This school of thought was advocated by Dr. Cesar Bacaria, who maintained the doctrine of psychological hedonism. So, that an individual calculates pleasure and pain in concordance to his actions and regulations. His conduct is the result of his calculations. It means that a person who commits a crime knows already what is the possible consequence. The doctrine of school of thought is doctrine of free will. So, ang tao jud nga makakommit og crime, so posible nga makabaliw sa ilang consequence, no? Kasi may tabok. Mo na yung ginapasabot ni Dr. Cesar Bacaria diri ang maintain the doctrine of psychological hedonism. Okay, second ta. Positive school of thought. This school of thought was also advocated by Dr. Cesar Ambroso. Kasi si Cesar Ambroso is known po siya as father of criminology, no? Ila naging malata namin sa to ilado naging sa to pa as criminology student. The positive school of thought opposes the doctrine of free will. Lombroso believes that an individual who commits a crime should not be punished according to the crime committed, but the imposition of the said penalty should be meted out in to the soundness of the mind of the offender at the time that the offense was committed. According to Lombroso, the person who committed a crime should not be punished. Instead, they must be treated as a sick person who did not know what is right or wrong. Okay, third, Neoclassical school. This approach to penology arose at the time of French Revolution and the period immediately thereafter. It maintains that while the classical school doctrine in general is correct, it should be modified in certain details. It argues that since children and lunatic persons cannot calculate pleasure and pain, hence they should not be regarded as criminals, and as such they should not be punished. Their reaction to crime, therefore, under this school is no longer punitive. Punishment is imposed on some lawbreakers but not on others. By application, individual responsibility is taken into account. Okay, proceed sa atong next topic, no? Definition of terms commonly used in correctional study. First, prison refers to a penal establishment under the control of the Bureau of Corrections and shall include the newly built prisons and other correctional institutions. Second, competent authority refers to the Supreme Court of Appeals, Regional Trial Court, Metropolitan Trial Court, Municipal Trial Court, Municipal Circuit Trial Court, Sandigan Bayan, and Military Court, including the House of Representatives, Senate. Commission on Elections, Bureau of Immigration, and the Board of Pardons and Parole. Third, inmate refers to a national prisoner or one sentenced by a court to serve a maximum term of imprisonment or more than 3 years or to a fine more than 1,000 pesos. Third, detained. A person who is confined in prison pending preliminary investigation, trial, or appeal, or upon legal process issued by competent authority. Death convict refers to an inmate whose death penalty is imposed by a regional trial court which is affirmed by the Supreme Court in bank. Next is superintendent, refers to the ones is in charge of prisons. Carpeta refers to the institutional record of inmates which consists of meticulous commitment, order, prosecutors, information in the decision of the trial court, including the appellate court. Prison record refers to information concerning an inmate's personal circumstances, offense committed, sentence imposed, criminal case number in the trial and appellate courts, the date when the service of their sentence commenced, the date when the inmate receives meticulous commitment, order for confinement. Okay, proceed ta sa ato ang next topic, no, which is more on enumeration siya. Importante po gani sa ato as criminology kay bukas sa board exam dapat po ni memorize yun nato jud, ma-familiarize yun nato ni tanan. Okay, first is categories of inmates. The two general classes of inmates are prisoner, inmate who is convicted by final judgment. Second is detained, inmate who is undergoing investigation, trial, or awaiting trial sentencing. Okay, next, classification of prisoners. These four main classification of prisoners are: the first is insular prisoner, one who is sentenced to a prison term of 3 years and 1 day to death. Second is provincial prisoner, one who is sentenced to a prison term of 6 months and 1 day to 3 years. Third is city prisoner, one who is sentenced to a prison term of 1 day to 3 years. Municipal prisoner, one who is sentenced to a prison term of 1 day to 6 months. Okay, next classification of detains. The three types of detains are those undergoing investigation, awaiting or undergoing trial, and awaiting final judgment. So, proceed ta sa next. Inmate security classification. The following are the classification of inmates according to security risk. Kasi tulo. First is high risk inmates. Second is high profile inmates. Third is ordinary inmates. Next is requirements for commitment. The following are the requirements for commitment are: first is commitment order, second is medical certificate, third is complaint or information, last is police booking sheet. Okay. So, nabotay 7 operating units the Bureau of Corrections located in Nationwide, no? Una is the New Bilibid Prison in Muntinlupa City. Kadua is the Correctional Institution for Women in Mandaluyong City. Kalo is Iwahig Prison in Penal Farm in Puerto Princesa City. Palawan ni siya. Kaupat is Sablayan Prison in Penal Farm in Occidental Mindoro. Kalima is San Ramon Prison and Penal Farm in Zamboanga City. Kaunom is ang Leyte Regional Prison in Abuyog, Leyte. And the last is Davao Prison and Penal Farm in Panabo, Davao Province. Okay, who is the prisoner? So, si kinsa ning prisoner? The term prisoner is commonly used in law to designate a person in legal custody charged with crime or public offense. In broad sense, any person unlawfully restrained of his liberty or unlawfully detained from his proper custody. Any person who is being held in a confinement against his will, a captive detained in a place of confinement is a prisoner. So, kinsa man yung prisoner? Kani prisoner is muna siyang tao na commit ng crime sa public. Nadari commonly used in law to designate a person in legal custody charged with a crime public offense. Nakasala siya. Parang prisoner siya, kitawag sa prisoner. Okay. Natay classification of inmates as to entitlement to privilege. Inmates shall be classified as follows to determine their entitlement to prison privilege. First is detained, second is third class inmate, one who is either been previously committed for three or more times as a sentenced inmate, except those prison for non-payment of fine and those who have been reduced from a higher class. Okay, second class inmate, a newly arrived inmate, an inmate demoted from first class inmate or promoted from third class inmate. Next, first class inmate, of whose known character and credit for work while in detention earned assignment to this class upon commencement of sentence, or one who has been promoted from second class. Okay, next is colonist, one who has passed as the first class inmate and has served 1 year immediately preceding the completion of the period specified in the following qualification, and has served imprisonment with good conduct for a period equivalent to one-fifth of the maximum term of his prison sentence, or 7 years in the case of life sentence. The inmate becomes colonist upon the recommendation of the classification board after following the said requirements. Okay, next is our okay, good day ma'am. Dito sa sa functions in line with its mission, the Bureau endeavors to perform the following functions: A. Formulate policies and guidelines in the administration of all district, city, and municipal jails nationwide. B is implement strong security measures for the control of inmates. So no, gina-implement yun na itong pagka-strong no, or anang security sa ato ang mga prisuhan para makontrol na to ang mga inmates. C is provide for the basic needs of inmates. So, kailangan din na ito i-provide mga basic needs sa itong mga inmates, no? For example, is mga pagkaon, tubig, mga maintenance sa itong panglawas baron, mga basic needs. Which is ang mga example is mga sabon. Next is conduct activities for the development of inmates. So, for kaning conduct activities for the development of inmates is, for example, is kanang pwede siya pag basketball, okay, para panintog na itong mga inmates, no, para di po sila magkasakit ng anang activities or kanang mga padula nga makahatag o learn sa itong mga prisons, mga inmates. Next is improve jail facilities and promote the general welfare and development of personnel. Improve din na to ang itong prisuhan, which is ang promote the general welfare and development of personnel. Next is dito sa core values. The personnel are guided by the following core values. First is commitment. Strong sense of dedication to the ideals of the organizations and to the public that it serves. Commitment. From the word commitment, commit din siya, no, dapat sa ito ang strong sense of dedication. Next is respect for human rights. Promote and protect the right for our fellow human beings. Kailangan yun na ito, marespeto sa ito ang sa ito ang mga inmates. Respeto na ito from the word human being. Tanaw na siya as tao, dili ito siya bastuson, mga basic na human rights. This is efficiency, competence, mastery of important skills for delivery of quality services. Next is self-discipline, the ability to act regardless of emotional state or the ability to withstand undue and unjust influences. Self-discipline, ang word self-discipline, disiplina sa mong kaugalingon, no? Kay need po na to maayong pamatasan, maayong personality. Siyempre ikaw mismo, if wakay disiplina sa mong kaugalingon, makakomit pa kag another crime sa sulod. Kailangan din na to niyang i-apply ng self-discipline, which is natuloy siya sa core values na to. Last is teamwork. The combined effective action of all personnel. Teamwork kani importante kini siya kay sulod sa prisuhan maka tag teamwork, which is dako ni siya tabang kay maano po na to ang brainstorming kani utok ko sa inmates, bali mo na siya mag-grow siya ba, need siya teamwork. Makanauna siya, makanauna ang mga prisons na inanay dapat bahaton which is dako siya tabang kay mature po ang mga prisons ani mga inmates ato. Okay, proceed ta sa objective. The objectives of the Bureau are the following. A. To improve the living conditions of inmates in accordance with the accepted standards set by the United Nations. Next is to enhance the safekeeping and development of inmates in preparation for their eventual reintegration into the mainstream of society upon the release into professionalized jail services. Ano dito sa sa Jail Provincial Administrator's Office. In every province, the VJMP operates and maintains a Provincial Jail Administrator's Office headed by a Provincial Administrator to oversee the implementation of jail services of all district, city, and municipal jails within its territorial jurisdiction. Which is district jail within large cities or a group of clustered municipalities. A district jail headed by a district warden may be established. Next is city and municipal jails. The BGMP operates and maintains city and municipal jails, each headed by a city or municipal warden as the case may be. Next is qualification for K position. The following are the minimum qualifications for appointment or designation to K position in the jail bureau. Okay, dito sa atong confinement and accommodation of inmates. Place of confinement. An inmate shall only be confined in a place declared by the President of the Philippines or by executive order to the place of confinement of national inmates. So dili na ma-confine if ma-declare na jud ang presidente ra mismo dili na declared by the Philippines or by executive order to the place of confinement of national inmates. Maka-file kag confinement if order na gyud sa place sa arang national inmates or by specific direction of the court, provided that a male inmate shall be committed directly to and shall be confined in a prison nearest his actual place of residence. A prison may also be used as a place of detention for other classes of inmates or for the temporary safekeeping of any person detained upon legal process. Okay, proceed sa security compound. Security compound. A prison shall, whenever possible, have a separate prison compound for the segregation of inmates according to their security classification. Each prison compound shall be under a superintendent who is assisted by an assistant superintendent. Separate facilities. Where facilities permit, there shall be separate dormitories to house inmates under the following categories. Nata sa sa separate facilities. Una is finally sentenced inmates. Next is death convicts. Inmates who, by reason of their criminal record, are likely to exercise a passive influence to other inmates. Next is detainees, youth offenders, or those below 18 years of age. First offenders, habitual delinquents, infirm age, invalids, and other finally convicted inmates whose physical condition seriously impair their mobility. Those suffering from mental disorder or abnormality, including sexual deviates, female offenders, drug dependents, foreign national, and members of cultural monitories. Okay, dito sa prison accommodation standard. Ganiya is sa ano to, sa confinement and accommodation of inmates. Okay, prison accommodation standard. All accommodation for the use of all inmates shall meet the requirements of sanitation and hygiene, with emphasis on adequate ventilation, living space, and lighting. Bathrooms and washing areas shall be provided in every prison facility. Or so nindot siya kay daw ko siya tabang sa mga prison ba kay which is kita siyempre isa ka tao need po nato ning mga nani which is ang hygiene, which is bathroom kana kailangan siya CR maligo ta mag proper po ta sa atong sarili no. Speaker mo na to atong kaugalingon which is ang proper hygiene, because adequate living space and lighting. Bathrooms and washing areas shall be provided in every prison facility. Also nindot siya kay kailangan di siya nari diri ang mga bathrooms or washing areas kay siyempre di pa beta malaba kay di pwede nga bolingon permente o suoton lain pud kayo. All areas regularly used by inmates shall be properly maintained and kept clean at all times. Beds and clothing shall be neatly made up in uniform manner at all times. So, nindot ni siya kay hinlo tanaw ng prison sa to ni or inmates. Sa ngalan nga net ato ang panamit, so nindot ni siya tanaw sa mga tao kay which is nakakatun tas bisa pag napriso ta nakakatun sa sulod sa prisuhanon mga maayong panlantaw sa tong kaugalingon para di pud lain tanawon. Beds and clothing shall be neatly made up in uniform manner at all times. Building occupied by all inmates must be disinfected at least once a month. Oh, so kaning ilang lugar day ginag-disinfect yun din siya. Siyempre delikado pud. For example, kanang mga lamok. Kasi makadinggi ba naman ng mga atong mga prisoners or inmates. Disinfect yun siya at least once in a month. Importante ka siya daw siya tabang. Ano siya ang prison accommodation standard.